Today, I'll be discussing to you the poem Sonnet to Our Gardener 2, written by our poet Trinidad Teresa Subido. And from here, let's try to check from the discussion question provided to you if you did really understand the poem assigned to you. Now, before I start the discussion, let me read through the poem itself, and piece by piece, we will go through the details of which. Sonnet to a Gardener 2 by Trinidad Tarosa Subido. Cool is the night, there is a tender breeze, stirring the vine leaves curtailing my room. Is it the amorous secrets of the trees? Is it my name it murmurs through the gloom? The altar fires gleam fitful in the dusk, but stars allure me with their lustrous glow. Fragrance of lilies, rose released moss. Such wonders cannot last, and I must go. Yonder he waits, O whisperer of my name. Tarry a little while I come, my love. I come, forsaking prayer and altar flame, to burn for you my incense in this grove. Night call me not a soulless infidel, only a pagan worshipping love too well. Okay, so from this particular poem, we're able to see that the persona, again, we will refer the speaker as the persona, not the poet, because the poet may write for someone else. Now, from here, we see actually a transition or a change of emotion as to how the persona addresses the mood of the poem. Now, at the first line, we have here a description. There's already a period. Cool is the night. So it shows here that the environment that the persona is trying to tell us is it's set into a nighttime and it's cold. And from which nighttime there is a tender breeze. This tender breeze, the wind itself, steering the vine leaves, curtailing my room. And so I put a background on the poster. I put a background picture of the vine curtailing the window or the room of the persona, as you can see. And so this breeze is quite like soft but strong enough to really move the vines that are within the windows of the room of the persona. And then with this particular mood of the environment, the persona asked, is it the amorous secrets of the tree? So he's saying, is this he or she or the persona is saying, are the trees be in this particular surrounding, do they held something secret? Because it says here, is it the amorous secrets of the trees? Then he further says, or says there, is it my name? It murmurs through the gloom. So that's a question the persona actually asks herself or himself. And he says there, ako ba tong ngalan? Is it my name that is being murmured in the darkness? So we're presumed here that someone is calling the persona, or the persona is even asking if it was just like an imagination of what he or she is hearing, because it seems that the name is being called off by someone. Then furthermore, there's a description of what it says. The altar fires gleam fitful in the dusk. And so a description maybe because it's during an all on the old time that you say the altar fires gleam fitful in the dusk. And so the light that is being given off comes from the altar itself, maybe through a candle, an offering in that particular artal. When you say fitful word, then that means it gives an intermittent light. So if this is an altar in the candle, the entire candle doesn't totally lit the entire room, but enough for the altar to glow. Then that's a period. There's a period in that, and so a different transition now of the persona description. But the persona says, but stars allure me with their lustrous glow. So the persona is saying, but the light of the star itself, the lustrous glow of the star allures the persona. This includes as well the fragrance of the lilies, the smell of the flowers, the rose released moss. When you say moss, this pertain to like sort of a family of a deer. But it says a rose released moss, a sweetness of smell from the fragrance of the lilies and the moss. And so from the description of the persona, it tells us of a very romantic nighttime. And farther, with this particular contributions and description of things around, and then with all these things being described, the persona further says, such wonders cannot last. All this romantic environment, all this romantic time, it will not last. And I must go. And so the persona says, I need to go somewhere. And so we don't know yet where the persona should really go. But he provided a narration on the succeeding line, yonder. And so when you say yonder, did that in our layman's term, that means did to, right? That means in some distance, in that particular direction. So in that particular direction, he waits. And so we have here the persona, either a man or a woman. He says that in that particular distance, the he persona or that someone is waiting. And here he says, "A whisper of my name." Now, if you could recall, we have on the fourth line of this poem says, is it my name? It murmurs through the gloom. So now we are able to establish that the person it was not like an imagination, but there was really someone calling the persona, and the persona did really establish that by saying, "That's the person, he who waits, a whisperer of my name." So we can really get from here that the person is trying to call the persona. Then it says, tarry a little while. And so in our layman's term, you say, wait there a little while because I will come, my love. And so from here, we're able to establish that he's like sort of communicating to the person waiting from the distance, wait there for a while, I will come, my love. So this is now an endearment from where we are able to get that the person who's calling the persona is his or her lover because there's an indication there of my love. I come. So this is a declaration now. The persona says, I come forsaking prayer and altar flame. And so the going or the meeting of the persona to this person who whispers his or her name means the entails forsaking something. And we don't know what's being forsaken here. When you say forsaking prayer, does this mean religion? Does this mean set of things to be followed? And you have altar flame. So this entails us that the meeting of that someone who's calling the name of the persona is something that's forbidden because he would really totally sacrifice. And why would they actually meet during a nighttime? Then it further says here, this forsaking this meeting would mean to mourn for you my incense in the group. So, so much is the declaration, very romantic, this declaration, hyperbole again, to burn for you my incense in this group. And so, the coming of the persona towards his or her lover entails a sort of a worship. When you say an incense, we have often use that for for offering and something else. And here, night calls me not a soulless infidel. The persona declares that the nighttime will does not call him or her an infidel, someone who doesn't follow the law. And so infidel, a person who does not believe in religion, who does not adhere to the religion's set of guidelines. And so we have here, night calls me not a soulless infidel. The night shouldn't call the persona a soulless infidel because only a pagan worshipping love too well. And so the persona declares here that the night or the people will never call her or him infidel because he's just simply a person loving someone so much, so well, intense emotion that even if it's forbidden and yet he or she is willing to do that for love's sake. And if you look at the title of the poem, it says there, Sonnet to a Gardener too. So when you say a sonnet, that pertains to a song. And so the persona here is making a sort of a poem, a written song towards to the gardener. And so it's safe to assume everyone that the persona and the gardener, who is the person who's whispering and waiting for the persona, are meeting even if it's forbidden. So we can really get from here that it's a forbidden love affair, maybe between a gardener and a maiden of coming from a rich family. Because as we look into how the description of the window was with these curtains of the moss within the window, and so maybe that's why they're meeting during the nighttime, because they are not meant to be meant or supposed to be with each other, knowing their backgrounds, and of course with of course the narrations and descriptions about their religion. But because of too much love, intense love, the persona was willing to give everything, forsaking these things, because he refers here to be a person who's worshiping love too well. And from this particular poem, so the theme basically tells us of forbidden love. But from this particular poem, we are able to get that the type of imagery created by a Filipino poet tells us still very romantic ideals, as the same as what we can actually see with the previous poem, The Rural Maid. Now, the sonnet again are poems with 14 lines. It either follows various syllabication when it comes to the lines of the words. However, it still copies very European idea during during the Middle Ages. And this again are manifestations of the works of our poets with which they are actually exposed with, like poems written by European writers, English writers, and in a way for them to really copy this, they made their poems, their expression of love, in a way that imitated the products and the works of the English poets during the Middle Ages, and even during Elizabethan period. And so if we look at the vocabulary, it uses cells wonder, I mean yonder, tarry. The words are quite very deep to really understand, which really characterizes works of English poets during the Ages or Elizabethan ages. And I hope from this particular poem we're able to really get what is meant by Sonnet to Gardener too, and be able to see how English has transcended and was imitated by our Filipino poet. I hope that that answers your questions about the poem. You do have a great day. Thank you.